Welcome to Business Prowess with Rafael and Dr. Andrea. Our show will bring you the best insights, ideas, and inspiration from successful entrepreneurs and CEOs in the business world. Don't miss out on the opportunity to learn from the best and stay ahead of the game. Sifu Rafael is the founder of 5 unique shows. He's a fitness professional, solutions expert, executive coach, and head instructor at Max Martial Arts and Fitness in New York. Dr. Andrea Adams-Miller is an award-winning international keynote speaker, best-selling author, and CEO of the Red Carpet Connection Publicity, Publishing, and Talent Agency, and CEO of IgniteYourRelationship.com. Known as the Dream Maker, she makes visionaries' dreams come true, bigger than they ever dare to desire.
Dr. Andrea, how are you doing today? Oh, can't hear you. You're muted. You got to unmute.
Well, see, I got out of pretense on how to do this. I'm hunky-dory as usual.
I love it. I love it. So we have 2 exceptional guests joining us today. I love the topic about authenticity closes, the new way to sell. Right? Mm-hmm. So let's not waste any time. Let's bring Coach Dan and Raquel. Good morning to you both.
Good morning. It is a delight to be here. Sifu and Dr. Adams. This is fantastic. Raquel, good to meet you too.
Nice to meet you, Dan. And I love you showing us ahead of time the covers of his books. So I'm like, sold. I just like the covers. And I was like, that is so cool.
I'll be giving them away a little bit later, so no one has to buy anything from me, which is unusual because I'm a professional salesperson, but that's how I roll.
And your podcast is wrong, Sifu, your intro, because don't you have like 1 million shows now? Not just 5.
I know. We got to change that. So I'm going to change it, and I think I'm going to throw some music instead of me talking. So we'll be adapting as we move along.
So fun.
I really enjoy the topic of authenticity closes. I think authenticity closes when you first meet a person too, doesn't it?
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, authenticity is what we value in all of our relationships, in all of our conversations. And I don't know how it became that selling is it has to be this whole other way of talking with people. And it really doesn't have to be. There are rules in a sales conversation that are different than most conversations, as every conversation has different rules. The way that you talk to a police officer who pulls you over is different than the way that you talk to your lover, hopefully, right? But generally speaking, the way that human beings talk to each other, yes, right? The way that humans beings talk to each other is based in authenticity. What we love about connecting with other people is when, oh, wow, they're so real. And we love that about movies and TV shows and music, like when we really feel that deep connection. And look, I got into sales. I'm the most reluctant salesperson in the world. I never expected to do this. I didn't like selling. I took sales courses. And what I found is that sales training isn't designed to teach you how to sell. Sales training is designed to sell you sales training. Right. So they're going to, like anything else, they're going to do anything that they can to get you to buy their stupid product. And when you get into it, what you discover is that sales training is only designed for a very narrow section of the population. And really, if you're already good at sales training works for you. So I realized that's not going to work. And having taught personal development courses, I use the tools of personal development in sales to create deeper connections, to create trust, and to really understand what my prospects are struggling with so I can help them, important part, whether they buy from me or not. And that is key in any sales. You are there to help whether they buy from you or not.
That's it.
Yeah.
That's exactly.
And as you were speaking, what was coming to mind is like even schools where we see that, where the way the education is set up is really for a certain kind of student. So then if you don't have that kind of brain or that kind of energy, then you're an outlier, you're a troublemaker. You better sit still, like what's wrong with you?
That's me.
And so
I was a D student all the way through.
Yes. The other thing that was coming to mind is speaking. I'm sorry, what was that?
What's that?
I said, I love how proud you are. I'm a D student all the way.
Oh. Well, I'm a lot
Own
more
it.
successful than the valedictorian of my high school. So, there's something to say about the education. I mean, like perfectly said, right? The way that our education system is designed is always for a very narrow segment of the population. And really it is about welcoming people into the conversation. And that is the essence of selling authentically, which is my brand of selling.
Well, the other thing that came to mind as well as you were talking was that this thing about being authentic and selling authentically, right? And it closes. There's a lot of confusion out there around this because we tell people to be authentic, but then we tell them, no, you're not speaking right for your person. You're not looking right for your person. You need to know all these things. You need to change your branding. You need to change your colors. You need to change the way you look. I was like, then what?
Right.
What is it? Are we going to be authentic, or are we going now to play the game and having to change our whole language syntax to speak to our right fit client? And so I think, there is wisdom in both camps, and it's really, us to discern what is right for us. Because if you start changing who you are in order for you to talk to your right fit client, maybe they're not your right fit client.
And I love what you're saying there, because I equate sales a lot to dating, right? Because I found love late in life. So I did a lot of dating here in Los Angeles. And the thing that I learned about dating and about sales are roughly the same thing. It's how you show up. Right. I once hired, it's embarrassing. I hired a dating coach. Right. And this coach said, okay, one of the things we're going to learn is about wine, because women love when you know how to order wine. I'm like, I'm out. Right. Like if someone is going to want to be in a relationship with me because I know how to order wine at a restaurant, that is the wrong relationship. Right. And that is the antithesis of authenticity. And so by trial and error, what I finally learned in dating was and I mean, this is what they say, show up as yourself. But what does yourself mean? Yourself means that I am not there to impress. I'm there to be curious. I'm there to be curious about the other person. And curiosity is the foundational approach to my sales. I'll call it a philosophy. If I can learn enough about somebody else, then I can get into or deeper into their life and really understand if what I'm offering, be it me, Coach Dan, or my product, selling authentically, I can see if it's a really good fit. And look, I'm 10 years into this amazing relationship with Rosalind. I'm still very curious. She teaches me something new every day. And even if I don't want to learn something. And so because of that, like that created this great relationship where I never expected. I never thought I'd be in a loving, fulfilling relationship. I never thought I'd be successful as a coach, but it all came down to authenticity and curiosity.
I love that.
Dr. Miller, you are fantabulous at what you do. I would love to know your thoughts around this as well.
So, by the way, I go by Dr. Andrea, so that way people don't have to worry about whether to use Adams or Miller.
Thank you.
You're welcome. So my whole, I started my whole business in the relationship business. So I had a relationship business first that I started after working in law enforcement. So when you go from law enforcement to personal and business relationships, it easily moved into business as a whole and publicity and so forth. And I do executive advising now. And what I learned from all of that, actually at one point I had written a book. It's the corporate Kama Sutra. It's how to, how to date, love, and be with people in business. That is not dating. It's not sex in business, although sex is what sells in marketing. They've said that for years. That's research that supports that, not just me saying that. And it's all, the model has changed. Before, how business was and how you could date a client, because in the past, if you even now, if you're not in a relationship with your clients and you don't have some kind of touch with them, they start checking out the other, financial advisor down the street or the happier. And the next thing you know, you have business infidelity because they're going down the street, checking out their prices and what they've got. So you've got to have a relationship with those clients. And then nowadays, where before you didn't talk about your personal life, that was don't do that. Now that's something that's really been important to people. They want to see your real life. So I have been one of the people who have embraced that. So my TikToks are about, last night were me freezing at a baseball game with the grandkids. And sometimes they're about, the plays that I'm in. And I actually haven't been talking about business a lot, although that will be changing here in the future. I'll incorporate both because I have realized that my clients have even said to me, I like it when I get to see the real you. I like you, or I'm like, why did you choose me? I always ask them that. And they say, because you're so raw. Like I actually had clients hire me because I tend to be an easy crier. And they said, I love that about you. They love that I have emotions and that I'm not afraid to show them. And so I have embraced that authenticity and realness. And that has, then I'm selling without selling. It just becomes very, a beautiful way for people to say they want to be in my world. So thank you for asking.
I love that, Dr. Andrea, because it lends itself to how people really make choices, right? People make choices emotionally, not intellectually. And so a big mistake salespeople make is they vomit out, right, all the features and benefits of their product, thinking if I can get someone as excited about my product as I am about my product, they'll just naturally buy it. But that's not how it works. People don't buy based on intellect. They're buying from the salesperson. And it's exactly what you're saying, Dr. Andrea. They're buying from you because of who you are. And so that's why I work with clients, like how to show up as them, right? How to be that authentic self. The things that you share are often the things that you think you shouldn't share. Like, I love that you say like you're an easy crier. Like, well, that's not professional, but it lends itself to who you are. Like, oh, that's who I want, right? That's the essence of who I want. And so working with the clients, I talk to them about what do you believe in? Like, what's important to you? Like, what are the values that you would share with the world if you could? Like, those are the things that you talk about when you're selling, bug zappers or books or, speakers, whatever it is that you're selling. You share your truth about who you are. And it's oftentimes the things that you think you shouldn't share at all.
Yeah. Sifu's that way. Sifu shows up he's very professional. However, he's very in touch with people. He observes and watches. I've always admired that about Sifu. And so people want to be in his world for that purpose. So I'm speaking for you, Sifu, because I know you're humble and won't do it yourself.
Thank you, Dr. Andrea.
Yeah.
I got to tell you, I'm loving this conversation. And when we think about the buy-in mantra for people, if you will, most people buy what they want, not what they need. So I don't need an Xbox, but should I save enough money so I can buy or upgrade my living conditions?
Yeah.
Most people don't need a Bentley, but I don't have furniture in my house. I'm living on lawn chairs, but the Bentley is so I can showcase it to my neighbors.
Yeah.
So people are living on needs only when it's dire, not when it's real. So for me, I always consider who I'm in front of and then find out what is it that they actually need and what do they want. And somehow try to combine them both so that they can kind of merge. So for me, I don't sell crap and I can't sell crap. And I just said that, and I know you're going to put your book up. And before you do that, I want to share with you that you talked about being in a relationship with the person that you're in with now, and we sometimes are surprised. And I love the fact that sometimes you have to answer questions you don't want to in a relationship. But our relationships should always be ever growing. There should always
Yeah.
be something that we want and we need, because we need to feel connected to another human being. We
Mm.
need to feel that they need us as much as we need them. So I just want to share with you what my fiance just did. And she created this coloring book for children, right? Because I'm in the martial arts world and she's one of my instructors. And she created this really cool uh, coloring book for kids, but it's not just a regular coloring book. It's also one that it teaches kids behavior. It teaches them how to be about themselves. So it's not
Yeah.
just a regular coloring book. It's a message while kids are coloring, they're having fun, but they're learning because it says, now do this position, do that position, and how do you feel and how do you act? So the fact that, yes, I bought the first copy, right? And I'm going to put
As
it
you
up here.
should.
If anybody else wants to support her, it would be an honor. But she didn't even want for anybody to find out about it. I'm like, wait a minute. How can you not want anyone to buy your book? I said, I'm going to tell everybody. In every show I do, in every event I go to, I'm going to bring it. And I've already got her sold so many copies. People are like, because we're so close to you, we want her to sign it. I'm like, of course. She's like, I don't know how to. I'm like, get a pen and start practicing your penmanship. Right. So start doing the things that you need to start doing. But I was surprised when she said that this was a task that she wanted to do. And it wasn't an easy thing. She took a long time to put it together. But the thought process that went in there is she could have said, hey, you know what? I'm just going to do a coloring book. But she put the process of what stories can I tell during this process of a coloring book, a child, not just coloring, but now, it tells me to punch like this. It tells me to hold this position. It tells me to think. It tells me to be calm. It tells me to be nice to other people. So that's why I really enjoyed what she did. And she's like, I'm not an author. It's just a coloring book. I said, you don't understand what an author means. An author is
Yeah.
somebody who puts thought into the message they want to deliver. And so I thought I'd share that with you guys as well. Now we need to see your book.
So I asked a client once, like, how have I helped you? And he said, you helped me increase my sales by 60% in 60 days. And I said, wow, that sounds like the title of a book. So that's the book that I wrote, How to Increase Your Sales by 60% in 60 days. And I was talking about this book at an event and somebody yelled out, selling is bullshit. And I said, oh my God, that sounds like the title of a book. I'm going to write it. And that's what I did. And so this book I wrote specifically, Selling is Bullshit, for people who don't like selling, who don't think of themselves as salespeople, who think selling is all icky. And so I don't want anybody to buy this book. I am giving this away. Right? I am following the teachings of the great Red Hot Chili Peppers. Give it away, give it away, give it away now, and rolling across the bottom of the feed is how you can get it. Just go to gordon.coach/BS book, GORDON.coach, COACH/BS book. So please get it. And look, Sifu, I love what you said a minute ago about want and need, right? Because when you're sitting down with someone, when you who are listening right now, when you're sitting down with someone who is interested in your product or service, they need what you are selling. If they didn't need it, they wouldn't be having the conversation. Now, there's a point in that conversation where it's time for them to buy what they need, right? Time to buy what they need. And that's where the sales conversation kind of turns, right? Where it turns and you're like, oh, here we go into this conversation where I'm trying to get them to buy something. And what people who aren't professional salespeople often think is, I don't want to be what? What's the word that they don't want to be?
Sold.
pushy, right? Salespeople don't
Pushy.
want to be pushy, right? I don't want to be pushy, right? I want someone to buy something, but I don't want to be pushy. And I get it because we don't like that feeling, like that classic used car salesman feeling of like winners take action, losers run away. So if you're a winner, you'll buy this car. That's pushy. That's pressure. And that's not what I'm saying at all. Someone's having a conversation with you because they need what you're selling. There's a natural fear of buying something because people are afraid of buying something and being taken advantage of. They don't get the value out of it. They waste money. But what they're really afraid of is buying something, it not being value, and then looking in the mirror and going, you idiot, you did it again. You wasted money. You got talked into something. Like last year, salespeople are the easiest to be sold to. I hired this marketing company. And they did nothing. It was terrible. Like halfway into it, I'm like, oh, I spent $20,000, got no value out of it. Now it's not the end of the world, but still I look in the mirror and I go, you idiot, right? You got talked into something. You made a big mistake. That's what people are afraid of. They're not afraid of wasting money. They're afraid of how they're going to castigate themselves, how they're going to beat themselves up. And so that's why it's our job as a salesperson to move someone through that experience, right? To not just deliver value, which you have to do, but to understand that they're not objecting to your product or service. They're objecting to the fear that they have of beating themselves up. And so this is the perspective that I give people about selling, especially around being pushy. Because there is a sense of good pushy and bad pushy, right? Bad pushy is that pressure. Good pushy is more like this. If you think about if someone that you love was suffering from the disease of alcoholism, and you sit down with them, you say, look, you've really got to get into rehab. I mean, your life is a mess. You've lost your job. Your wife is left. Like you've got to get into rehab. And your friend goes, you know what? You're right. I'm really going to think about this. Right. And if you say, great, I'm so glad that I helped you. Right. You're going to think about this. Well, are they really going to think about it? Are they really going to do anything? No, they're probably, because you put pressure on, they're probably going to go out and drink and then run into a school bus.
They're going to think about it over a drink, right?
Exactly, right? So you have failed that person, right? Now you may think I was good because I wasn't pushy, but you failed them. Now here's what a real friend says, right? When someone says, look, I'll think about it. You go, no, not good enough. We're getting in the car right now. I'm driving you to rehab. I got you a bed. We're going there right now. Hate me for the rest of your life, but you're going to rehab whether you like it or not. That's a real friend. Now, what we're selling is probably not life or death, right? Now, that is one very far end of the spectrum. But the other very far end of the spectrum is people will just decide to buy when they're ready, right? Which is ineffective. And so what that means is that you need to be closer to the side of the spectrum of, no, you're going to rehab now, than you are on the side of people will make a decision when they're ready. And what that means is that when someone says, oh, I'm going to think about it, you can't just let them go. What you want to say is, of course you're going to think about it, right? You normalize their objection. You don't tell them that they're wrong. You normalize their objection. Of course you're going to think about it. I don't do anything without thinking about it. You'd be crazy not to think about it. Can you tell me what you're thinking about? And we can have a discussion about it. Like, are you thinking about the price or if I'm the right coach? Right? So what you've done there, they're trying to get out of the conversation, right? They're afraid of making a bad decision. You loop them back into the conversation by asking them a question, getting curious about what they're going to think about. Now, that is a little bit of pressure, but what it really is your persistence to help them. Your unwillingness to let them go off and not get the product or service that is so beneficial to them, the reason they're in the conversation in the first place. And so what I'm asking you to do, you who are listening right now, I'm asking you to engage a little bit of pushiness in order to serve the person that you're talking to. Does that make sense, you guys?
Actually, I wanted to let everybody know this is a masterclass by Dr. Dan Gordon. I'm not going to say coach. I'm going to say Dr. Dan.
Thank you, sir.
But thank you for bringing it and pointing it out this way to us. I would love to get Dr. Andrea's idea and concept of what you just talked about, and the same thing for Raquel, because
Please.
for me personally, you're so right when it comes to caring when we sell, because if we care, that's what's going to make somebody want to know, why do you care if I buy or not? And to be honest with you, if somebody buys my product or not, it's based on how I'm trying to help them. If I'm not there to help them, if I'm not there to give them the product, if I'm going to sell you this cup because it holds coffee, great. Guess what? This one holds water. It's not vodka, it's water. So, but it's not the cup.
Yeah.
It's maybe what it says on it, or maybe how it makes you feel. So it's all these different things of how do we sell to somebody to be it authentically geared towards them. And I believe that's the best way to be a salesperson. My fiance says that I can sell ice to Eskimos, and I say yes, because I sell them these cute little things that look like ice, because it's different. Maybe I shape them, and they want them because they're cool looking. But can you sell anything to anybody? I don't think so. I think what you need to sell to somebody is a promise of something they either want or need, or maybe if we can do this merge. And that's how we can be a better salesperson. Because for me, I never want to sell something to somebody who doesn't want it, or actually in the long run will hurt them.
Yeah.
So, ladies, love to hear your insight.
Yeah, I'll go. So it's twofold for me. I when I'm selling something to someone, it's not about me selling it to them. It's about them wanting it and me having it available to them. And if I am selling them, it's because it's someone that I really want to work with and I really want them to be in my world. So if I ever look like I'm selling, it's because I really want them in whatever I'm doing. I want to collaborate, or I see how it would benefit what they're doing. I tend to not to want to be that ever, because I want people to want what I have and not to be the person who's pushing anybody to do anything. I want it to be their idea and what they want. And at the same time, I also have a large repelling factor. I want to push away people who are difficult, who are indecisive, who are bitchy complainers. I don't want to work with them because I find that they take a lot of my time and energy away from the other people who are being cooperative, or who maybe aren't saying things that really need more time and attention, and who deserve it because they're not being taking over, so to speak. And so I want to so I kind of see sales for me as more of pushing out the people that I don't want to be in what I'm doing. However, the people who do want to be with me always still seem to show up. So, and it's not by accident. Part of that is I do really care about my clients. I tend to work with my executive advising business. I tend to work with a few people a lot. I know very much about their world. They're athletes, celebrities, CEOs, founders of projects or communities. And so I know them very intimately. I know their world, their family, their business, their personal stuff, and I have to keep their secret. So I really am in tight with them. So they need to be able to trust me, and I need to be able to trust them to do what they're going to say, so that if I'm helping them and my name's attached to it, that we're both being good at our word. I want a handshake to mean something, in that relationship. And then I do care about them. I've noticed in the past, sometimes I've cared about clients more than they cared about themselves or their business. And that can also be exhausting. So, there's some boundaries that I've had to put in place. And I've done that now through, now I have a business where I teach and train on neurolinguistic programming, and that's NLP, if anybody's heard of that, and hypnosis. And I have other brain exercise modalities to help people have more mind mastery. And that now I'm working with more people, in a group setting and so forth than I used to. And I do really care. I want them to leave with something, and I want them to be able to help other people. That is such a heart and soul thing for me, is to really care about other people. That is my, if you look at all of the personality tests, other people has always been the highest thing for me, because I want to nurture people and I want to help
Sure.
them. So that's what it is. Raquel?
Same. When it comes to, the other thing of nurturing, and in DISC, I'm a ISSI, so I'm a double people person, but when I work, I'm like a task animal, like very critical, very direct when I'm by myself and working. And so when I'm actually in a conversation of sales, I mean, I'm a high, when I get to that point with them, I close it's like 4 out of 5. So it is pretty high. But I do give people wiggle room. It's like, everybody who has told me, I'll come back to you and I want to work with you, and I will, they always do. Because I was like, okay, I'm going to make sure that when we're having the conversation, I'm even going to tell you what to do. I'll tell you exactly what to do. And you can hire me or not hire me. You can work with me or not work with me. You can go do it yourself. These are all the things, and so I leave them with something tangible that they can go and practice, something tangible that they can go and do. Then they come back sometimes and ask me questions. What do you think about XYZ? And I just tell them, because I understand the law of sowing and reaping. I know that this is an abundant universe. I know that even if they don't work with me, what ends up happening is they bring me other people, because they didn't feel that pressure. I was like, okay, we're not meant to work together, then that's good, but I want to still leave you with something that you can go and run with. And that's what they remember. They remember that I'm not pressuring them, that I'm loving them before they come. I'm loving them in the conversation. And then I still check up on them. I'll go and I'll like and comment things, and I'm not doing it to, to manipulate my way into their heart. But if I generally like them, then I want to kind of also stay in the world. So those are the things that I think about. It's like, how can I serve them in this conversation? And selling is serving. Part of I need to be able to offer it, because there are people who are crying in their heart, like for this thing, or they have a desire in their heart that they haven't maybe vocalized, and then we show up, and if we don't offer it, then they can't get what their heart's desire is. So we are, we're all dream makers, answers to prayer. We all have purpose, and so if we don't offer, then we are doing them a disservice when we don't. And, it doesn't matter if they say yes or no. It's the practice of like, yeah, I know that what I have is really good. I know what I have is transformational. I know what I have is going to really help you. And it's just an offer, and they can take it or leave it, but it's their sovereignty to take it or leave it. I don't have to convince you. And if I have to convince you, that means I'm going to have to convince you on the other side too. I've done that stuff, or like trying to talk to them through the sales process and doing all these things. And then I was like, oh my gosh, this is exhausting. At the other side of that, I got what I wanted, and I got to work with them, and I'm just like, oh, never again. So I try to allow my content to actually speak for me, to already have the objections there. So by the time they get to me, they've already been consuming my content. They've already been having the flavor, they've already catching my vibe. The content is already talking about those objections. So by the time they come to me, it's like a job interview, right? You get a resume. I used to do management. You look at a resume, you're like, I want to see if the person on the paper is the same person who shows up.
Sure.
If it's the same, you got the job. And if it's not the same, no, thank you. Right? So it's the same thing. They want to check to see, is the person who is on socials the same person who's going to show up in this call? And it is. And it's funny because I've been in rooms with Sifu too. And so when people first meet me, the weirdest compliment I've got, like, oh, you're exactly the same as you are on Zoom. You look the same, you talk the same, you're the same. And I'm like, my brain goes, what? It doesn't compute. Like, isn't that the point? But I guess, that's why we're having this conversation, that people are not showing up authentically. And so, I'm a bubbly person. And so for people, they might be like, well, you're not professional, or you're not. I've actually had people tell me, I didn't realize how smart you were. And I was like,
oh, what a strange compliment.
What do you say to that? Because of my bubbly nature.
Someone,
Did I work with
Emilio,
them? No.
Emilio popped something into the chat that I really love and I want to speak to. He asked, is it okay to have a customer or client feel uncomfortable to realize how serious they are about solving the problem? And the answer is an absolute yes. Taking someone into discomfort is essential in the process of helping them. Right? Anything great begins with something uncomfortable, right? If you want to work out, you got to go to the gym. It's a little uncomfortable. You want to do big things in the world, you got to get out of your easy boy recliner and get out there in the world. So discomfort is endemic in the sales process, but it's how you move them into and through the discomfort that's really key. Because the pressure is what I was talking about before. Like if you're saying nasty things about them, that's force, right? But what you want to do, like, so when someone talks with me about coaching, I'm talking to them about the things that they're struggling with, the reason that we're having the conversation. And if they default to, well, I'm going to think about it. I'm like, hey, you can think about it. That's great. And if you think about it for the next 6 months, nothing is going to change. And the reason that we're having this conversation is about change. So let's talk about the change that you want in your life. Right? I'm not letting them out of the conversation until we talk about the thing that they want, how they're preventing themselves from getting what they want, and what they need to do to get it. That's some discomfort, right? That's some what they might call pressure, but it's also the realization of the truth of what they need to do and why we're having the conversation in the first place. So I would say, yes, discomfort is endemic in the sales process. It's essential.
I want to tell you a story about two of my clients. One has been with me about 5 years. And these two clients I had a conversation with last week. Actually, one was yesterday. And he says to me, I hate coming to see you. I said, okay. He goes, but I have to. Because he understands that I'm going to make him uncomfortable. He also says, I hate going to the gym. I hate working out, but I do it every single day. Why? Because I like the results. And that's why I come to you, because I like the results. And so, he's like, he gets so mad. And he's like, well, he's doing things with me. And he puts himself down like, you have no idea how far you've come. Because I can tell you, you are phenomenal. What you're doing is really incredible. He goes, I don't think so. And you can see he's frustrated. And I'm like, look, let me show you these little things that have been working. And then, so you would think after a session like that, the guy would like, I'm not coming back. And I go, I'll see you next week. He goes, absolutely. So, but he comes, I see him twice a week, every week for 5 years straight, right?
Wow.
And he is consistently there with me. And he goes, I hate coming to see you. He goes, last week, oh, I said, so why are you back? So I said, why do you keep coming to me? He goes, because you kicked my ass. And I need it. Because I know me. I need what you have. Yeah. I said, okay. Here's my other client who's been with me for over 20 years. He says to me, there was a time, boy, I didn't think you liked me. I'm like, I didn't like you? He goes, yeah, I really thought you didn't like me. I said, why? And he went through all this nonsense. And I said, that was all in your head. I said, and that's okay. I said, but how long ago? Oh, that was several years ago. I said, but you're still here. He goes, yeah. I said, did you resolve it? He goes, yeah, I realized it was me. I said, okay. I said, so let me ask you something. Do you think you still would be my client if I didn't like you? I said, life is so short. I don't want to deal with people I don't like. Yeah. And that's the truth. If I was going to die tomorrow at 6 a.m., from this minute till the next, I only want to be with people I like or love. So thank you all for allowing me to like you, because I don't know when I'm going to go, but thank you. I like you all. And I love most of you, right? Dan, I'm starting to get to love you. Raquel, you know I love you. Dr. Andrea, I know I love you. And the more you and I connect, I keep calling you Dr. Coach Dan, the more I know I'm going to love you even more. So, but here's the thing. I only want to be with people that I can feel comfortable with. And if I'm uncomfortable with you, there's a reason for it. And like Raquel said, if I have to prod you to buy my product, you're going to want a refund. You're going to want more. And it's the people that pay the least amount are the ones that want the most. It's the people that pay the most attention to.
Oh, I love that. Oh, I'm definitely going to use that. The people who pay the most attention to.
Absolutely.
Can I offer a piece of practical advice for people who are listening? Because the question I get a lot is, what do I say when someone says it's too expensive, right? Like, how do I handle that objection? Right? And look, I say this a lot. I am not in the business of overcoming objections. I'm in the business of normalizing objections, right? So when somebody says it's too expensive, again, what they're afraid of is spending the money, it being not valuable, and looking in the mirror and kicking their ass, right? Kicking their own ass. So when somebody says it's too expensive, I know they're actually getting closer to wanting to buy it. And I want you to think about that. When someone tells you your product or service is too expensive, they're actually envisioning themselves buying it. You're doing a good job, right? Don't push them away at that point. And so when you hear that, the first thing that you want to do is normalize their objection. Someone says it's too expensive and say, "Oh man, I know that feeling. I hate that feeling. I get it, man." Like when, and then I often tell a story like this one. I said, look, when I bought my Tesla Model X, right, it was $120,000, right? The car I bought before that was $20,000, right? So that's $100,000 more than I ever spent on it. Like I'm a Midwestern Jewish guy. We do not spend $100,000 on cars, right? That is not how I grew up. And so it freaked me out. But the thing I came to was what I realized was like, this is what I wanted. Like I wanted a car that had a low carbon footprint. Roz and I love traveling and we hate driving. So the car drives itself, right? And it's nice. And these are all the things that I wanted. And that was the price of what I wanted. And so rather than run away from it, I leaned into it. And here's what I found, like having a car that drives itself, it's great. Rosalind and I get to talk to each other on the drive instead of me having to really focus in LA traffic, right? So our relationship has improved because of the car. I never expected that. And that's what happens when you lean into the fear of spending money is you get benefits that you never expected. So let's talk about the benefits that you want out of hiring me as your coach that you don't expect. Right. So look what I did there. I took their fear of spending money, normalized it, told a story where I leaned into the same fear so they could imagine themselves leaning into that fear too from the outside because it's my story, not theirs. And now we're having a substantive, authentic conversation about what they'll get if they spend the money, how they lean into that fear. And if that's the conversation that you're willing to have with people, that open, authentic conversation, if you're willing to share your own stories and your own fears and your own struggles about money, you're going to galvanize that relationship with your prospect. And they're going to understand that you face the same struggles that they face, and they're going to be much more open to having a deeper conversation about it.
We're going to have to come back to deeper and longer conversations, but we are wrapping up this show. So literally, because we're tight on time, everybody just gets about 45 seconds. If you go 46 seconds, you're going to have to do 100 push-ups. So we're going to go there. So Raquel, my dear, would you mind just giving us 45 seconds why somebody needs to connect with you?
That nothing has gone wrong. You're beautifully and wonderfully made. And that, you are going to have negative thoughts, and so do they. And that's okay. It's just a thought. It's just an offer. So offer them something different. Offer them something good.
Ooh, that was less. Look at that. Thank you for that. Coach Dan, 45 seconds or less.
Yes. I don't know why you should connect with me, but let's find out together. Text the word HELP, HELP, to this number, 213-409-8366. 213-409-8366, and text the word HELP, HELP. And let's have a 15-minute conversation about you. Let me help you. And I guarantee you, you will get at least $10,000 worth of advice. And I also guarantee you, you will not be a client because I will not ask you to be one. It is not a sales call. It is a you call. 213-409-8366 and text the word HELP, HELP.
Love it. Love that, actually, very much so. Dr. Andrea.
Yeah, thanks so much. So I own the Red Carpet Connection, and the Red Carpet Connection is my executive advising. So I work with people who really are tired of being alone, because the higher up you go in a business, the more you tend to be by yourself, and they need somebody to talk to. That's their, confidant. They're somebody who has their back. And so if that's you, reach out to me. If you don't know if it's you, reach out to me also. And then I can let you know if it's you. And then of course, if you're interested in, flipping your life to find the freedom switch, or, you want to be able to step into mind mastery because you know that your brain has the potential that you haven't used, then, reach out to me on all my social medias. I'm Andrea Adams-Miller, or just reach to me through the Red Carpet Connection. And as you have heard, I love people. So just show up and come around.
Love it. Love it. Thank you, Dr. Andrea. I'm Sifu Rafael. I'm easy to find, sifurafael.com. What can I say? God told me to help as many people as I can possibly help. So yeah, I don't have a phone number you can text, but just reach out to me. So, this has been an incredible conversation. Go to all of us, find us all, connect with us, because we are all very much people, and we love people. So do that and share this show with somebody that needs to hear today's message. I know we'll have to wrap it up. If anybody wants to stay in the green room for a minute, I do have like 2 minutes. So thank you, everybody. God bless you, and have a blessed and beautiful day. Take care, everybody.
Thank you for all you do.